Chapter 7. Financial IQ Number 5. Improving Your Financial Information. In January of 1972, I was transferred from Camp Pendleton, California, to an aircraft carrier off the coast of Vietnam. My primary job on board the carrier was as a helicopter gunship pilot. My primary mission was to fly as an escort for the larger troop helicopters. My secondary job was as an assistant to the squadron's top-secret information officer. It was an extremely interesting job. For hours on end, we would sit, listen, observe, gather, and process top-secret information. At regular intervals during the day and the night, we gave briefings to the commanding officer and his team. Our job was to take raw data from the war and turn it into relevant information. As an information officer, I gained a tremendous respect for information. Prior to Vietnam, I never thought much about the subject. In school, I thought the study of information was a joke. To me, information was just data, mindless facts and figures, dates and times to be memorized in order to pass tests. In Vietnam, information could mean life or death for my fellow pilots. Today, I believe that I am a better entrepreneur and investor because of my position as information officer. Today, I know that information can mean life or death in war, and the difference between being rich or poor in business. While at war, the amount of information we had to process was staggering. Very quickly, we had to learn how to sort, categorize, discard, and process tremendous amounts of information from multiple and varied sources. To handle information overload, the military puts a great amount of effort into classifying information. Without classification, all information is equal and virtually worthless. As an information officer in Vietnam, I learned to classify information according to a set of characteristics. They are: Number 1, time. In war and in business, information can be useful one minute and obsolete the next. War is fluid, always moving. So is business and investing. Enemy troops can be one place today and 100 miles away tomorrow. In business, a business advantage can be priceless today and worthless tomorrow. Number 2, credibility. We had to know who the information came from. Were our sources credible and reliable? Unfortunately, in the world of money, most people get their financial information from people they work with or salespeople. They may be good, honest people, but they are not credible or reliable sources of financial information. Number 3, classification. In the military, I learned to sort information into categories. For example, top-secret information was only available to those with top-secret clearances. In the world of business and investing, top-secret or classified information is known as insider information. When the average investor hears the term, he or she thinks of illegal information, and sometimes it is. Insider information is illegal when a person receives information from someone inside a public company and uses it to buy or sell that company's shares. In reality, all information is inside information. A more important question is, how far from the inside are you? By the time a person hears a hot tip about a company's new product or news that a company is in trouble, people on the inside and close to the inside have already traded on that information. The battle has already been won, and the average investor has lost. Let me make it clear that I do not encourage or condone illegal insider trading. The distinction I want to make is about the importance of being on the inside and getting close to the information. One of the reasons I love being an entrepreneur and a real estate investor is because I am a legal insider who can trade on inside information. Since I am not a public company, I can also freely tell my friends what I know and how I am investing. One of the main reasons my rich dad encouraged me to develop my financial intelligence is so I could have access to inside information. The closer to the inside your information, the richer you become. Number 4, relative information. Watching battlefield information change day by day, we as information officers were able to interpret past and present information to forecast future information. For example, if we knew that the enemy troops were in one position on Tuesday, another position on Wednesday, and another position on Thursday, we could begin to predict where they were going and what their objectives might be. In other words, we had to know how information related to other information. In the world of business and investing, this past, present, and future information gathering is known as watching the trends. Number 5. Deceptive information. In war, the enemy would often try to deceive us by sending deceptive information. They occasionally did this by using diversionary tactics. For example, they might move a large number of troops and equipment, making a lot of noise and dust just to distract us from their real motives and objectives. Or they allowed us to capture one of their troops who provided erroneous information. Business and investing are rampant with deceptive information. An entrepreneur and investor must be constantly vigilant and on guard. For example, many times a financial expert will tell you something and then do the opposite. This person may go on television and say he is bullish on a stock and is buying it. This bit of information causes other people to buy the stock, driving the stock price up. Once the price is up, the person who recommended the stock sells and takes a huge profit. This is known as the pump and dump. Classifying information to become richer. There are a number of lessons I learned in the military about classifying information that are applicable to business. Lesson number 1. Facts versus opinions. The key to military intelligence is to know the difference between facts and opinions. The same is true for financial intelligence. One of the reasons so many people think investing is risky is because they do not know the difference between facts and opinions. A few examples of opinions are: when someone says the shares of a company are going to go up, it's an opinion because it is about a future event. When someone says a person's net worth is $1 million, it's an opinion because most valuations are opinions. If a person says he is very successful, this is an opinion because the definition of success is relative. Lesson number 2. Insane solutions. An insane solution occurs when a person uses information that is an opinion as a fact. In war, this can kill you. In business, it can ruin you. For example, question: why did you buy that house when you knew you couldn't afford it? Answer: I bought it because my broker said it was going to go up in value. I thought that I could buy the house, live in it, and then sell it for a profit, which would solve my money problems. Question: why do you invest in those mutual funds? Answer: because my supervisor told me to. She said it was a good investment. Lesson number 3. Risky actions. In war, if you didn't verify information and acted on it blindly, you risked death. A risky investor invests based on opinions. Unfortunately, this describes most investors. Since most investors invest for capital gains, their investment decision is based upon opinions about the future. Many investors invest in mutual funds based upon the opinion that the stock market goes up 8 to 10% per year. If the opinion is wrong, they lose. A smart investor knows the difference between facts and opinions. A cash flow investor invests for facts. If possible, a smart investor will invest using both opinion and facts, and invest for both cash flow and capital gains. If you are investing in stocks, mutual funds, real estate, or business, ask yourself if the information you are basing your decision on is fact or opinion. Lesson number 4. Control over the asset. One important bit of information I want is how much control I have. In the previous chapter on Financial IQ number 4, Leveraging Your Money, I stated that it was important to invest with control before leverage. If I do not have control, I do not use much leverage. I control my asset value by controlling my rents. My asset value is not based upon a market appraisal, which is an opinion 99% of the time. Lesson number 5. What are the rules? Rules and laws are very important types of information. Many people get into trouble simply because they do not know the rules, ignore the rules, or break the rules. Personally, I never liked rules. In Vietnam, I liked them even less. One of the things I hated was that we fought according to one set of rules and the enemy fought according to another. One rule I found ridiculous in war was the rule that we could not pursue the enemy across borders. The enemy would fight close to the border and then escape across it for safety. There were many times we had to break off a fight because the VC crossed back into Laos. It was my rich dad who changed my attitude towards rules. He said, if you play sports and there is no referee to enforce the rules, the game turns into chaos. If you drive on the highway and police do not enforce the rules, people die. This is why rules are important. Rules can make a person very rich or very poor. This is why information on rules is so important. For people who want to be rich, having good accountants and lawyers is important. Today, there are so many laws, rules, and regulations that it is impossible for any one person to know or understand them all. While hiring an attorney or accountant may seem expensive, the pain and money they can save and make for you can be much greater than the fees you pay them. Remember two things. Rules provide a valuable source of information about how the game of money is played, and without rules, assets decline in value. Lesson number 6. Trends. A trend is developed when an investor takes information from a set of facts and then forms an opinion. Instead of diversifying, I prefer to focus on a few small assets, notice a trend, and invest with the trend. Since I know a trend can reverse and change direction, I do not blindly invest for the long term. Some of the trends I am investing in today are trends in oil. As you know, the more China, India, and Eastern Europe become westernized, the more the demand for oil goes up. Even with the rush to find alternative sources of power, oil will continue to be a primary source of power for years to come. As much as I do not like the environmental damage oil causes, the harsh reality is we all use it, even the most devoted environmentalists. I believe the long-term trend for the price of oil is up, possibly as high as $200 a barrel in the near future. This high price will have serious repercussions upon the world economy, which will later lead to other trends worth following as alternative energy technology, such as solar power, makes advances. Trends in silver. I believe silver is the best investment in 2007. I believe it is a better investment than oil. There are two reasons I say this. The first reason is because silver is a consumable industrial metal. This means it's used up. Silver is the metal of choice for electronics. It is used in computers, cell phones, television sets, and other gadgets. It is estimated that 95% of all silver is already consumed. It is becoming scarcer. Gold is different. It is estimated that 95% of all gold ever found is still around. Instead of being consumed as silver is, gold is hoarded. In many ways, this makes silver more valuable than gold. The second reason is because silver is also a precious metal, a form of money. As the dollar drops in purchasing power, more people will look for anything that represents real money or at least holds its value. As I write, silver is very cheap when compared to gold. It is approximately $13 an ounce, while gold is approximately $600 an ounce. Historically, gold has been only 14 times the price of silver, which means if silver were $10 an ounce, gold would be trading at $140 an ounce. At today's prices, gold and silver are trading at a differential of 50. To me, based on historical trends and the fact that silver is a consumable metal, it has a greater opportunity to go up in price. Trends in housing. One of the reasons I love investing in apartment houses is that rich or poor, people will pay for a roof over their head. In America, the population is expected to grow from 300 million to over 400 million in the next 2 decades. So I believe the price of housing will continue to trend up. As real estate becomes more expensive and difficult to afford, and as wages come down, I believe these trends will cause more people to be renters. One of the reasons Kim and I did not panic during the August 9, 2007 crash is because we rent out real estate for cash flow. We do not sell real estate. When the subprime mortgage market collapsed, sellers panicked. People who invested for cash flow, those who rent property to others, didn't panic. In fact, they saw opportunity. In down markets, there are more renters than buyers, so a crash is generally good for landlords, but not sellers. A final thought on trends is the importance of history and cycles. Having survived a number of up and down markets, I have learned a lot from history. There is one historical trend I believe is worth watching. That trend is the 20-year cycle between stocks and commodities. As a person who sailed for an oil company, I became curious about why the prices of commodities went up as stock prices came down. A few years ago, I came across a book written by one of my favorite financial authors, Jim Rogers, entitled Hot Commodities. Rogers discovered that stock prices went up for 20 years at the same time as commodity prices came down. For example, from 1960 to 1980, just as I was coming of age, commodity prices such as oil and gold were rising. In 1980, oil, gold, silver, and real estate prices came down rapidly as stock prices started climbing. Between 1980 and 2000, the stock market was the place to be, and oil, gold, and silver were dogs. While the commodity market was down, I was buying all the oil, gold, silver, and real estate I could. On schedule, in 2000, at the height of the dot-com boom, share prices dropped and commodity prices came roaring back up. If history repeats, this means that commodities will come down in 2020, and stocks will be the market to be in again. In conclusion, ultimately, it is not the asset that makes you rich. Information makes you rich, or poor. In real estate, most investors lose money because of inadequate information and intelligence. That is why when someone asks me, "Is real estate a good investment?" my reply is, "I don't know. Are you a good investor?" Chapter 8. The Integrity of Money. Integrity is an interesting word. I have heard it used in many different ways and in different contexts. Many times I have heard someone say, "He has no integrity." Someone else might say, "That house has integrity of design." Before discussing the integrity of money, I think it best I give my definition of integrity. Webster's offers 3 definitions for integrity. They are: Number 1, soundness, an unimpaired condition. Number 2, incorruptibility, firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values. Number 3, completeness, the quality or state of being complete or undivided. All 3 definitions are required to discuss money and integrity. To better illustrate, I use the example of the integrity of an automobile. An automobile is made up of systems: the brake system, fuel system, electrical system, and so on. If the systems are not operating in integrity, the car will not be sound. The car is not whole. A similar example can be made with the human body. Some of the systems of the body are the respiratory system, nervous system, digestive system, and so on. If the integrity of the human body's system is not sound, corrupted with clogged arteries, for instance, health declines and disease or death soon follows. Just as health can break down from a lack of integrity, so can wealth be compromised by a lack of integrity. Symptoms of a lack of financial integrity are crippling taxes, high expenses, excessive debt, bankruptcy, foreclosure, sadness, and despair. Earlier, I listed 5 different financial intelligences. Once again, they are: Financial IQ number 1, making more money. Financial IQ number 2, protecting your money. Financial IQ number 3, budgeting your money. Financial IQ number 4, leveraging your money. Financial IQ number 5, improving your financial information. The integrity of all 5 intelligences is required if a person wants to grow rich, stay rich, and pass his or her wealth on for generations. Missing one or more of the financial intelligences is like someone who doesn't know how to drive attempting to drive a car that has brakes without pads and water in the gas lines. When a person is struggling financially, one or more of these financial intelligences is out of whack, financial integrity is not sound, and the person is not complete. A reflection of financial integrity. As my rich dad said, "My banker has never asked me for my report card." The reason bankers don't ask for an academic report card is because they are looking for financial intelligence, not academic intelligence. This is why they ask for a financial statement. A financial statement is a reflection of your financial integrity. It is the equivalent of your financial report card. Bankers are looking for answers that relate to the 5 financial intelligences. Obviously, they want to know how smart people are at making money, protecting their money, budgeting their money, leveraging their money, and how informed they are. A financial statement will give the bank the information it is looking for. Intrinsic value. Warren Buffett does not diversify. Instead, he looks for a company with intrinsic value, a company with financial integrity. He wants to know if the business has the 5 financial intelligences. In overly simplified terms, Buffett wants the answers to the following questions. Number 1, can the business make more money? Number 2, does the business have a protected niche? Number 3, does the business budget its money and resources well? Number 4, can the business be leveraged and expanded? Number 5, is it run by a team of smart, well-informed people? In even simpler terms, intrinsic value means: Number 1, niche. This means the business has a core competence, something that will make money in good times and bad. Coca-Cola fits this requirement. People will always drink sugared water regardless if plain water is better for them. A big advantage Coca-Cola has is its trademark, which is protected by law. You may recall that financial intelligence number 2 is protection. In this case, Warren likes this product because it's a product that is a legally protected brand, not just a commodity. A well-recognized brand, protected and defended from pirates, increases Coca-Cola's intrinsic value. The brand Rich Dad is a trademark, protected by law in every country we do business in. Being a brand gives my business greater intrinsic value. Many authors write books but fail to build a brand. As you know, Harry Potter is a mega brand. So is Donald Trump. If you are not a brand, you are a commodity. Brands have more intrinsic value, and to maintain this value, a brand must be true to its message and customers. A few years ago, a large mutual fund company approached me and asked if I would endorse its fund. Although the fee it would have paid me was very high, I turned the offer down. In my mind, endorsing a mutual fund would not be true to the Rich Dad brand. To me, it would have shown a lack of integrity, which would diminish the brand's intrinsic value. Number 2, leverage. This point separates the small business owners from the big business owners. For example, if I am a doctor, it is hard for me to leverage my value if my patients come only to see me. But if that same doctor invented a new cure or kind of medicine, then that doctor's medical intelligence can be leveraged via a product. The world is filled with small business owners and professionals who are not able to leverage because they are the product. Most employees fall into this category. Number 3, expandability. Once a product or business can be leveraged, the next question Warren wants to know is, how far can the leverage be expanded? Warren loves Coca-Cola because its leverage is expandable throughout the world. Warren says, every time someone in the world drinks a Coke, I make a little money. When I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book was my leverage. Instead of my teaching in person, my book and my games could now do the teaching. The next task was to expand the product into different countries by printing the books and games in different languages. This was done by licensing the rights to produce Rich Dad products to businesses in different parts of the world. Instead of having my company print, inventory, and distribute my products, there are now publishers in 109 countries that do that for me. This is my example of leverage and then expandability. Number 4, predictability. What Warren Buffett wants to know is how predictable revenue is. He doesn't want peaks and valleys in income. He wants to know that come rain or shine, the money will come in like clockwork. One of the reasons I love my apartment houses is that rain or shine, the money comes in. I'm not worried about the price of real estate going up or coming down. I want my money coming in 24/7 from all over the world and from my apartment houses. This is why Warren Buffett does not diversify. Instead, he focuses on a business's intrinsic value. Recognizing intrinsic value requires the 5 financial intelligences. When a business has intrinsic value, the business has integrity. When a business has integrity, it has a better chance to grow and remain profitable, regardless of changing economic conditions. Before investing in a company, a professional investor looks at the business's financial statement. The professional investor is looking for business integrity. The same is true when a real estate investor buys an apartment house. Knowing about the internal rate of return, IRR, is intrinsic value applied to real estate. The problem for most people, due to lack of financial education in school and not being able to read a financial statement, is that they don't know if the company or real estate they are investing in has financial integrity and intrinsic value.